Now the chapter begins with the color art of of the Straw Hats are fighting the sweet creatures, which Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper are battling them while protecting Zoro, Sanji, Robin, Nami, Frankie, and Brooke because they've been transformed into gingerbread cookies because the creatures are actually, well, magical sweet creatures, more like warlocks and witches, which the color art, the chapter art for chapter 902 is called Sweet Busters. So I think that's actually kind of a good title for a special, if I add, which is actually led to the chapter that I'm about to review right now. Which the chapter begins with the flashback of the Sanji's group back at Seoul, which he saved Powell, Powell, Duke and Master while they attack on from Jack's group. While we go back to the present, where Sanji is now being informed that Pyro is now dead, which Carrot told him not to be sad because he won't be responsible for Pyro's death, even though he is the one who's been captured into the Reading in the beginning, which Carrot actually told him to say thank you instead, which she won't actually take responsibility. As the voyage will goes on, the song begins while Chopper is actually maintaining Luffy's wounds after the battle between Dogtooth. The cotton candy snow actually fell from the sky while the song is still going on, which means that Big Mom is going to the battlefield where, the Fishman Pirates and G-Bay is at, and also where he's last seen putting where Big Mom's army is battling the German 66 army, while she actually still having thoughts about everything that's happening during the entire arc, which means the battle. Which means the meeting where she asks putting to be the bride for the wedding, then seeing Sanji's face, then revealing her true colors, then mocking him, removing her veil, then being applauded by her third eye, which the favor that she asked, it wasn't because of the cigarette she smoked, it's because she actually removed a piece of a memory of her from Sanji, which she actually did. Meanwhile, the German 66 army is retreating, which means they are being overwhelmed by the battles. Meanwhile, in the mirror world, Bulin is tending Dogtooth's injuries, while they're talking about Luffy, even though they're actually talking about their childhood, while there actually is, which means that during the childhood, we see Dogtooth, Pearl Sparrow, Oven, and Daifuku are as kids, while Dogtooth is being teased by his mouth. Bulin was actually cut on her face, and that's where we actually seen the wound on her face, the scar on his face. Sorry, which caused, which actually caused by the bullies that mocked his face, which means that during that tease, he actually decided to retaliate against those who cut Bulin, which she actually praised him for being who he is, which he actually taking the actually take his anger out on the bullies. which we go back to the scene where we see the battle between the Fun Smoke family, the German 66, the Fishman Pirates, and the Big Mom Pirates are actually goes on. Which, if everybody actually do the spoiler about Jinbei dies on this chapter, then they're actually wrong. Jinbei doesn't die. It actually shows how Jinbei will return from defeating Big Mom, because I have no idea where people say Jinbei will die, because he won't. Meanwhile, the Strawhats have actually escaped from the Whole Cake Island territory, which means that Sanji is about to cook something for Luffy and the others, which means that which they actually praise that Sanji has returned. Meanwhile, back in the East Blue, on the same time on the sea restaurant, the Brontier, that Sanji used to work there, Sanji is cooking up a meal for his crewmates, while we see the return of Seth. Yeah, Seth, Sanji's mentor, which they actually say they're going to cook a meal and feed them for those who are hungry. And that is it for the chapter. And I have to be honest, I actually love the chapter, which means I love the chapter art, the chapter where we see both Sanji and Seth holding a plate and making a meal for those who want to eat, and especially the battle between all the armies, which means we're about to see how how the Straw Hats are going to Wano, where Zoro is at. So I hope that we're about to see how it all goes down. So anyway, like this video, subscribe for more, and comment on what you think about the manga chapter. You guys can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and like my Facebook page. Until then, this is Amiga 300 here saying sign out. Laters.